I went from office hero to corporate outcast overnight. I never expected my life to change at the company Christmas party. One second, I was sipping cheap champagne, pretending to enjoy the small talk, and the next, my boss, Mr. F. Ing Halverson, was turning purple, clutching his throat. The music stopped, people gasped, but no one moved. They just stood there, frozen, too afraid to do anything. So I did. I rushed forward, wrapped my arms around him, and performed the Heimlich like I'd done a dozen times before in my lifeguard days. It only took a few seconds before a half-chewed piece of steak flew across the room. He collapsed, gasping for air, but alive. And suddenly, I was a hero. The praise was immediate. Coworkers clapped me on the back, the CFO raised a toast in my honor, and even Halverson, between gulps of water, gripped my shoulder and said, "I owe you." The next day, I walked into work to have multiple people shake my hand and tell me how amazing I was that night. I had made a name for myself overnight, the golden boy who saved the boss's life. I let myself believe, just for a moment, that the world was fair, that good things happened to good people. Then Halverson called me into his office. He leaned back in his leather chair, a brandy in his hand even though it was barely noon. He said, "I've been thinking, you've got guts. I need someone like you, someone I can trust." I thought he was going to offer me a promotion I had been waiting on for years. Instead, he slid a folder across the desk and told me to sign the document inside. I was too eager, too naive. I flipped through the papers, just standard expense approvals, or so I thought. It wasn't until I saw the numbers, the accounts they were linked to, that my stomach twisted. They weren't just expenses, they were cover-ups, missing funds. Money moved in ways that didn't make sense. I asked him what I was holding. Halverson smiled, the same damn smile he gave at every board meeting. "Paperwork," he said. "It's all handled. You just sign, and we move forward. Simple." I set the folder down, telling him I couldn't sign it. His smile didn't waver when he said, "Sure you can. I owe you one. So I'm giving you this opportunity." That's when the real weight of it hit me. He wasn't grateful I saved him. He was using it against me. I shook my head, telling him I didn't want to be a part of his cover-up. His expression darkened, and he told me that if these numbers ever come into question, my name would be on the approvals anyway, so I might as well reap the awards. Ice shot through my veins. I quit that afternoon, walked out with nothing but the sick feeling in my gut, and the knowledge that I had wouldn't be played like a fool. I thought it was over, thought I could just leave and move on. I was good at my job, and I'd had an offer recently from another company I decided to take. But Halverson wasn't done with me. I went in for a preliminary interview with the company when the hiring manager said, "We heard about your situation at your last company. It's just not a risk we can take." I asked what she meant, but she just smiled and asked me to leave. Then I heard it again at the next interview, and the next. Finally, I called an old friend from the company and asked what was going on. Apparently, word had spread that I was fired for covering up another worker's scandal where they stole funds. Halverson pinned the blame on some other unsuspecting person and attached my name to it. So now, I was blacklisted. Halverson had made sure I would never work in my field again. I lost everything. The job, my career, my future, all because I did the right thing. I'd do it again. I saved a life, and I wouldn't change that, not even if it ruined mine. But I hate that it cost me everything. I hate that I live in a world where the right thing isn't always rewarded.